are going to talk about the Chef Series Pure knife set. So if you've never seen this knife set before, this is something we've actually never sold, or I can't remember ever selling in the catalog. It's only been an award you can earn. So you're going to be able to purchase these individually or as a set. All right. So I always like to talk about what these knives look like. And kind of compare them to our other knives, right? So the first thing to know is that the Chef Series are all forged knives. So what that means is they have a mold and they pour liquid forged into it and they hammer them out. So in the old days, we used to like literally hammer out blades. Now we have cool machines that do that hammering process, but we still hammer out the forged steel. All right. Whereas, and what you'll notice is if you look at a knife like this and you try to bend it, you'll notice it doesn't bend, and that's part of that forging process. It's so thick, and through that process, it makes it so it doesn't bend. If I look at our, typical universal knife, you'll notice that they do bend a little bit. That's not to say these are a bad knife, right? And we came up with the analogy in the first one. This is our Vent and Serve of knives. This is the Crystal Wave of knives. Okay, so we needed some way to describe the difference, right? Because this is going to be an expensive set, right? I don't remember what the number is, but it's over $800, right? Or something like that. I don't know what the number is.
Great, yeah.
It's 400 something.
Oh,
498.
$498. Okay. All right. Cool. So a couple other things to know about this. So you'll notice that there are dimples on the blade. These are actually there for a reason. It is to prevent food from sticking to the blade. If you've ever cut a cucumber or something with the university, you'll notice it sticks and they like go up and then sometimes they like roll off your counter and down on the floor. That's probably happened to people before. You'll notice that they will fall right off. The other great thing about these knives is they're well balanced. A good knife you should be able to hold like this and you'll notice it sits straight up both ways. If I use a knife like this and hold it the same way, you'll notice that immediately the front starts to tip down. The reason for this is an insert, right? So the blade is inserted into the plastic, and you can actually see, if you ever look really carefully, you'll notice that you can almost see the little gap there, right? Whereas these knives go all the way through the handle. They go almost to the end on all of them. Some of them will come up just a little bit shorter for that balance purpose, okay? So sometimes people ask about, is this the same forged steel in the end? Maybe is the answer, right? But the key is more about balance, right? We always want to make sure our blades are super balanced when we're cutting. Some other things to be aware of in terms of care: you never put knives, this knife, any knife into a dishwasher. It's not the dishwasher that like inherently that does it. It's the bouncing around that happens. The jets are so high on dishwashers to get food to come off. Your knives will actually bounce around inside the dishwasher, dulling the blade, and that's why you never want to do that. Right? You can use, it is stainless steel. If you ever get dots or the marks on, you can use a non-abrasive stainless steel cleaner if you want your knives to be like really shiny so you can see your own reflection in them or something like that. If that's something you want to do, you can do that with them. They have a lifetime limited warranty. So if you chip, break, non-commercial use, they break under normal circumstance, you can have the knife replaced. Don't use it as a hammer to fix your deck or something like that. That would not be covered under warranty. But you can warranty the knife, right? This one, much like the pans, is a send-it-in kind of warranty scenario, right? So you send it in. If you don't have the block, they do come with protective plastic sheath so that you can move them around, which is super handy. I do recommend people to get the block for a couple of reasons. One, it's just super sexy looking when it's sitting on your countertop like this. But this block actually has some reason for good use for it. The first thing you'll notice is the block is actually sideways, right? A lot of old blocks are actually up and down when you put your knife in, and every time you put the knife in, you're actually dulling it. You're cutting the wood each and every time. So if your block isn't on its side, you're actually making your knives worse each time you put it in. The other thing is the bottom of this is actually, and I don't know if I can get it on the screen, I don't know if they can see that, but you can see it goes all the way through on the bottom, which is, so if you put a wet knife in here, you want that so that it can air dry, right? If you have a block that is closed at the bottom, you're probably running the coolest science experiment ever at the bottom of your block set, right? I encourage you to cut it in half and just see what's growing inside. I'm pretty sure it's pretty cool. Speaking of things that are fun to like grow on. Cutting board, steel, porcelain, that kind of stuff is really bad for knives actually. Every time you hit a steel or porcelain with a blade, you're dulling the blade, right? So the ideal is actually plastic cutting boards are the best, all right? So don't quote me what we have available in the new catalog. I don't remember. You didn't look. But plastic is best. If you have an old wood cutting board, please, for all things holy, throw it in the trash right now. You are probably growing something on
Is
it.
that muted?
Huh?
Is that muted?
Yeah, I don't have it on.
Dave said to mute it.
Oh, I don't have it on.
Alright.
Wood cutting board, bad. Bad, super bad. You cut chicken on it, raw chicken, that chicken juice is just going into the wood, right? Like you get a couple of, oh, it's, ooh, right? Another really cool science experiment. Cut that bad boy in half and take a look at what's inside of that. It's kind of, yeah, exactly. You have lots of different knives. You have the standard chef knife that comes with it. This is the meat carving knife, all right? We have the bread knife, okay? Next up is our cool fillet knife. This is dangerous because this one's super sharp. You could lose a finger on that one. You could really lose it on all of them, honestly. Serrated utility knife. We have then standard utility knife. And then for all sorts of real fun and weaponry, you've got the two small paring knives. A small standard one and then a curved one as well. So, and then obviously the shears. We have the shears, right?
I don't remember if the shears are part of the set.
Yeah, I'll have to look. We'll double check. I think it is, but we'll. I thought they were too. If you've never seen the shears, though, they come apart, which is the coolest thing in the world, right? So we have people who buy the shears just for that point. Yes.
Do the knives fit with the sheets in the block?
No, absolutely not. So it is. Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's not like the universal set where you can slide them in. If you're using them, you're gonna set them off to the side and put them somewhere else. I just want to look at my notes. I am gonna post. These are my cheat sheet notes about everything I know about these knives. I will post them as well, but I'm just trying to give you some other kind of fun knowledge along the way. Did I talk about cleaning the board? So a lot of people, when they're cleaning their cutting boards, they'll oftentimes do this and push down. You're actually dulling the knife on each push, right? You always want to use the back of the knife and push this way, right? That way you're not dulling your knives inadvertently based on your cutting board, right? What other questions you guys have?